when he moved the team, I think people were shell shocked. I mean, I was young. I was 22 at the time, so I think you just couldn't believe it. You couldn't believe that what you'd always known, the Browns, here every year, every fall, the focus of the town was not going to be here. It seemed surreal. So I think once the fans realized that it was real, then they began to fight. And that's when you saw the keep the names and the color and the tradition. And then you saw the Browns win that expansion franchise back because the NFL realized the passion of these fans and the anger and all that was too much. That Cleveland needed an NFL team. And the NFL finally realized that, even after Art Modell, ripped its heart out. But, and then you flash back that last game. I was at that last game at the stadium when they played Cincinnati in 1995. It was crazy. People ripping seats out. It sounded like you were at a construction site. It was an eerie feeling, and it's something I'll never forget, just the sounds coming out of the stadium that day, knowing that it was the last Browns game that Cleveland was going to host for, at the time, nobody knew how long.
Betrayed, disloyalty, hurt. It was a lot of things because, at that time, it almost felt as if the Browns were turning the corner, and then you got on top of them releasing Bernie the year before, but it almost felt like, that was the second year, I believe, of Bill Belichick, second or third year, and it just kind of felt like, something's good getting ready to happen. You had a decent core, you had a nice group of players that people liked, Eric Turner and Eric Metcalf, and you had a lot of people that you connected with, and just to have your team ripped from you for political reasons and for things that's just out of your control. Like, for as much control as fans think that they have, you really don't have any. And so to have your team just up and move, and you have to just sit there and watch it, it's like watching, you're being with somebody for 5 years and then they go marry somebody else. It just kind of hurts.
When I heard that the Browns moved to Baltimore, I was just really, really frustrated to have a franchise that had consistent, season, sellout crowds of 80,000 fans week after week, even though the team wasn't doing particularly well, and just to move the franchise, for more money, basically, was extremely sad. Fortunately, the NFL came to its senses and restored the Browns franchise in 1999.
I just think it was really, really awful. I remember going to the last Browns game, which my role was to work on the sidelines, not as a timeout guy. And I remember there was no advertising in the stadium. Everything was black. I remember people banging on the seats and taking them with them. I do have my own Cleveland Stadium chair. I'm glad to have it. It's an important part of my home. Yeah, that was really heartbreaking. It really felt like, dare I say, a death in the family, but it just didn't feel and seem right in those 3 years while the Browns were gone. Of course, we're always focused on the Buckeyes as well, but it was very odd. I actually had a chance in 1996 to go see the old Cleveland Browns play at the old Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, and it was just so strange to go there, and I just remember feeling like it was just like a dream to be there, to see the players you're kind of familiar with playing for another team in another city with another color. It was just very unusual, so it was very heartbreaking.
I was probably 15 years old or so at the time, so it was, you're a kid in high school, sports is everything, and it hurt. Browns really hurt me a couple years earlier than that when Belichick cut Bernie, and so they were really confusing me at the time, and it was just weird. Thank God we had the Indians at that time because they definitely left a void in the city. No football for those 3 years. Watching TV, watching sports highlights, and not seeing any Browns highlights was odd. And then seeing our players in Baltimore. Thank God for Steve Everett wearing our colors under the Baltimore helmet. But it was odd. It was definitely weird.
It was pain. It was hurtful. It's just like having something and then somebody took it away from you. It's a natural feeling to feel hurt. I appreciate the city and what they did and everybody rallying around to do what they did to get the team back on the lakefront.
That's probably one of the worst worst things I could ever imagine happening. I mean, to take a team and say that due to a lack of a fan base, you're going to rip it away from a city, and then for them to show up the way they did for that final game, and people taking their season tickets out, and the players and the fans uniting around the dog pound, and for the fans to uphold and keep all the traditions and the colors here, to me it was just a huge slap in the face to that man, just saying, hey, you took it because you said we didn't support you, and look at what we did. Look what we just turned around and accomplished. I mean, it was, like I said, the worst thing that could ever happen. We turned it into some sort of a positive. We kept everything here. First time it's ever happened.
It hurt. It hurt like everybody else hurt in Cleveland. It's like taking away a family member. You don't do that. But we're coming back. We came back. We're looking at brighter things now. Hopefully we can do